which kind of actually is a really good segue onto into Nutrition Month, which is a technical difficulty for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So depending on what's out there, I was just looking at something I posted on my professional Facebook, which is just Dr. Kimberly Vallis, and homicide is 0.8% of deaths in the U.S., but diet-related disease is over 60%, but nobody ever talks about that. So it's like, let's take the flies out of their hands. Okay. So we're going to look at National Nutrition Month, which is fantastic. We want to talk about why nutrition is so important to health. And I know we're kind of preaching to the choir here that we all understand this, and we're all, for the most part, practicing it, being part of such a great company with quality supplements like Nature's Sunshine. But we need to help others understand why this is a basis of a well-functioning immune system. And then we don't have things like all of these flu things going on, and everybody talking about Ebola, and everybody talking about all these different things going on. And the new Zika virus, I think I just posted something on that as well, because they were talking about how that actually had been related to a pesticide, larvicide, I think. I posted that on my Facebook as well, that it was actually the chemical that was the root cause for that. So yeah, you can check that article out too. So let's look at some things of how they determine, we have a thing called RDA, which stands for really dumb amount. This falls under nutritional science. They investigate the metabolic and all of the physiological responses of the body to food and diet. And this is like all of our vitamins, all of our minerals, all of our aminos, and how deficiencies cause certain ailments, symptoms, diseases. When we have a lack of nutrients, the World Health Organization defines this as the cellular imbalance between the supply of nutrients and the energy and the body's demand for them to ensure growth. So that just means you're either taking nutrients into the cell and maintaining and flushing out toxins, or you're developing this nice big swampy pool that a lot of diseases can grow and multiply in just because of a lack of essential nutrients in the diet. And one of the things I've been researching lately with a lot of leaky gut syndrome and a lot of small intestinal bacterial organism stuff are biofilms, and how biofilms can actually coat the cell. They're like a whole little colony of these little bacteria, and they kind of manufacture this polymer that holds them together, and they can move across the terrain and the surface like little inchworms, and they create like these little colonies that have this communication system called quorum sensing, and they can be flushing and excreting waste products that our body's having to deal with too. So we really have like this nice little ecosystem going on there. So here are some really super easy principles to convey with your clients, and that is eat less crap, which is carbonated drinks, refined sugars, artificial sweeteners and colors, and processed foods. So what does this boil down to is avoid all the inner aisles of the grocery store. And then eat more food, which is fruits and veggies, organic protein, your omega-3s, and drink more water. So it seems like it would be like really super easy to do this. But a lot of people that are on the go, and they see this lovely glowing yellow sign that says dollar menu, and that just seems more appealing to them because it's fast and easy and cheap. And a lot of people feel like that food is just fuel, that it doesn't really matter what you put in. But it does matter because of the density. So we need high nutrient value. And it is going to be hard to get that from foods, and it's going to be hard to do it, especially if you're traveling or you're out and about and you go out to dinner, because a lot of the processed foods do not have any nutrients in them. And when we have wild foods that are nutritionally dense, but we can't get them all the time, then this is a good point to explain to people why supplements are an absolute necessity. because we're not going to be able to eat perfect every single day, and especially under certain circumstances on the go. And we're not going to have the nutritional density in our food because of different chemicals. So you got to look at the labels, and I feel like when we go to the grocery store, I feel like I have to be a biochemist just to read the label on a lot of the things, because you have words that are 13 syllables long on there. Then they put a lot of these acronyms on there, like BVA, which is bromoleic vegetable acid, you know, and people don't relate that, oh, BVA, okay, that must be something they put in there because, you know, we all trust the FDA and it's all safe, and it's not. A lot of the studies don't have to run through any proven, if they're in any proven mechanisms, if they're like under 2% of the ingredients. So just watch out for the chemical additives, the artificial sweeteners, and even natural flavorings, because if you've seen, and I know it's going to be gross, but if you've seen things that say, oh, it has natural flavorings, and I read one thing that comes from the anus glands of beavers, and it's like, oh wow, that's all natural, right? So you have to watch so many things, and it's just very diluted for us so that we don't question it. Let's look at the different types of nutrients that we talk to people about. We talk to them about carbs. We talk about fats and proteins and fiber, and then water and minerals and vitamins. A lot of these can be obtained by different color foods. So that's going to be our focus tonight. We want to make it easy for people because a lot of people don't want to sit down and figure out what percentage of carbohydrates, what percentage of protein, you know, what should I be following, how should I be eating every meal. You know, everybody's overwhelmed by their schedule and other activities in their life that unless they have, you know, super incredibly serious health problems, they're probably not going to take time to study all of this. So we need to find a simplified plan, and people tend to listen to color. So it's like avoid the whites, eat the colors. So every fruit and vegetable has all different kinds of phytonutrients in it, kind of based on the color, and those are all in there to protect our health. So that's why it's important too to have like vine ripen, and it's hard to get that, you know, when they're being shipped all the way from Chile. And so discover how you can eat more green, more orange, and more red. So our current diet, if I put the standard American diet on here, is beige. You know, it's bland. And this is where most diseases are going to initiate, either by creating, you know, bacterial colonies, clogging arteries, causing abnormal cell activity, obesity, and diabetes. So type 2 diabetes is constantly on the rise, which is a dietary issue. So our fruit, vegetables, our protein, and supplement choices, these are all key for getting the right fuel that we need for a preventative mode and for a healing mode too. So our two favorite vegetables in North America are iceberg lettuce and French fries, you know, because French fries are a vegetable, right? No. So maybe once upon a time. Then I just saw this lovely YouTube video somebody posted on Facebook about how they take synthetics and they put them in this pot of boiling water, and they use green, and then they use white, and they use yellow, and they actually made a synthetic head of lettuce. It looks just like lettuce. So it's a little crazy how they're manufacturing a lot of the food. So some of the things that can impair how we uptake our nutrients and even get our supplements absorbed are a lot of fast food, and I know it's been out for a long time. There's several movies. You know, you can watch Super Size Me and Food Inc. and Forks Over Knives and Farmageddon. Those are all some really good documentary type movies to watch on foods. GMOs, the genetically modified organisms. You know, Canada does a much better job at managing these than the U.S. All the different dyes and chemicals and all of the massive amounts of sugar. You know, each person consumes about 150 pounds of sugar per year. And 1 teaspoon of sugar can take the immune system down for about 8 hours. So we need to convey that to people, that, you know, natural fruit sugars are different. And hormones. When your hormones are off, your nutrient absorption can be off. And this in the hormone category, I would put cholesterol. Cholesterol is technically a hormone, so it's going to be off and causing inflammation if we're not getting the right food. So let's look at starting from the inside out. Okay, so we want to eliminate all the white foods. So sugar, white flour, white bread, white pasta, processed foods, all the hormones that are in a lot of the, especially the poultry products, and the energy drinks with all of the additional added stuff in them. And this is going to include all of the artificial sweeteners too. You want to add plant-based whole foods, okay, and clean protein. So whether you are doing, you know, a clean wild game or a clean protein source or a clean vegetable protein source if you're a vegetarian, just make sure that it's free of chemicals and dyes. And if you're vegetarian and you're doing, you know, legumes and beans as a protein source, make sure that you're cooking them right, that you're doing them slow cooked. Because then you're going to get the nutrients that you need, and you're going to get the phytochemicals, the antioxidants, and especially the. So anytime you can eat to balance this out and create an alkalinity, you're going to start reducing an inflammatory response in the body. And chronic inflammation really is the #1 cause of all disease. So let's look at enzymes too. So when we're eating raw foods, we have an enzyme with them, and those actually act like this little bus driver to get everything from point A to point B. And it's like taking a little truck, and it has all of your tools and all your little workers on it, and it's going to the cell, and it's going to rebuild everything. Then it's going to pick up all of the mess from where it was sanding and the sawdust and everything from where it was building something, and it's going to get rid of those. It's going to flush them out. So this whole process of nutrient in, nutrient on the bus, nutrient to the cell, nutrient creating a building block, anything that wasn't used that's a leftover product goes into the garbage dumpster. The little garbage man comes and picks the garbage up, and it carries it out of the body. That's a very simplified process of what we do with nutrition. So let's go green for a while. A lot of green foods are loaded with lutein and zeaxanthin. These carotenoids, they protect against diseases, they work as an antioxidant, they help to lower risk of certain things like heart disease and even skin cancer. So they have folates in them, and the darker the greens, they have magnesium in them and calcium. So why are greens so important? We always hear, okay, let's do the green juice, and you know, then the green monster drink, you know, with the green apples and the kale and the spinach and the ginger and the lemon in it. So these actually help protect the cells from environmental damage, and it can repair damage. So protein comes in, it's like the little construction worker brings all the materials to the site to rebuild injured tissue. And then once the injured tissue keeps rebuilding and establishes a healthy balance there, then our immune system remains healthy, and we don't have to worry about all of the things going around. So carbohydrates and fats come in because they're fuel for the body. So the vitamins and minerals go through the body in support of all these processes. So it's like the carbohydrates and the fats are like the building materials along with the vitamins and minerals. And then we rely on enzymes and breakdown and the right foods to get these where they need to be. So this helps to protect the cell, builds a little moat around them, which is like our interstitial, to help protect from certain toxins that it can flush out, like a little water filter, so to speak. So we have different minerals, you know, calcium and phosphorus keep your bones strong. Sodium and potassium help to transmit nerve signals. So, you know, everything has its role in the biochemical process of, say, getting to the cell. So when it gets to the cell, kind of like the cell has these little drawbridges. And it's like, okay, the drawbridges have to come down, you know, the things have to get in the cell, and then the cell uses them. But sometimes when you don't have nutrients that hit the right button on the cell, it's like the drawbridges are kind of like, eek, 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 you know, they don't come down so quickly. And then the cell goes, well, I'm tired of waiting. So greens can be very powerful, not only in nutrition, but in a weight loss. A lot of times when you're craving carbs and sugars, you can eat spinach, you can go eat lettuce, you can go do the green zone powder, and that usually curbs a lot of cravings because what you're really craving are probably minerals. So greens are low in calories, they boost the immune system, they have a range of complex carbohydrates that the cell needs for fuel. It can regulate blood sugar, it can alkalize, it can detox, it can act as an anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, and it helps promote healthy cholesterol levels, especially with HDL. Greens contain magnesium. So we hear a lot of stuff on magnesium, and I've posted a lot on it as well. But about 60% of the magnesium is what is in our structural system to form bones. And bones are pliable. They're flexible. They're like living organisms, and we need magnesium to keep them flexible that way. So there are over 3,700 magnesium binding sites. That's where all the magnesium is getting taken in. So a lot of this is in the intracellular area. It can help the cells take things in with permeability. It helps as a conductivity, like a little electrical current for nerve impulses. It helps the muscles to contract. It helps with the fluid regulation in the body. It helps to activate enzymes. So that's where magnesium can actually help the digestive system because it helps the enzymes work better. And that helps your protein break down better. And it also reduces stickiness in the blood. So magnesium does play a key role with hormones as well. So estrogen and your insulin and thyroid hormones, they all require magnesium. Your nerve function requires magnesium. Blood sugar regulation requires magnesium. Blood pressure regulation requires magnesium. In order for the mitochondria and the cell to work, it requires magnesium. To produce glutathione in those that do not have the MTHFR chromosomal band, the antibody, it's going to help with the production of glutathione. So where are we going to get our greens from? Because we go out, I know in the U.S. we go out and get greens, they're all sprayed with chemicals, so it's hard to find unless you're doing like totally organic. And I don't know how many of you have juiced, and I have some patients that are so into juicing, and they bought like these really expensive juicers, and they tell me what a hard time they have cleaning them up and how long it takes, and they have to make their juice for the whole week and this big commitment to this. And that's fantastic because, if I had somebody doing that for me, I'd be juicing every day too. But time and basically just life gets in the way. So, on the weekends when you're home and you can juice, that's fantastic. But people need something that's going to make it simple because we have to think about this. People are going, from going through a drive-through for fast food that we're trying to get them to eat healthier. So they need something that's going to be equivocal to that of being fast and easy. So that's where the Green Zone powder comes in because it is a whole food supplement and it's got the fiber in it. It has chia in it. Chia is like the most perfect food of how it contains a mix of the fats and carbohydrates and proteins. It has all of our greens in it, especially the chlorella, which is very high in amino acids, as well as the alfalfa. Then it has vegetables in it with the artichoke, the broccoli, the asparagus, the carrot, the red beet, and the fruits. The papaya is in there as a digestive agent. And then we have fructooligosaccharides. The fructooligosaccharides reduce inflammation in the intestine. Then we throw some herbs in there that help with digestion, like licorice root and parsley, and then podiarco, which works with all fungal, viral, and bacterial conditions to help establish a healthy biological terrain. Lemongrass to help alkalize. Horsetail has silica, which helps transport all the nutrients where they need to be. And then the sodium copper chlorophyllin. Well, copper acts as our energy conductor for the cell, so this helps with the pH balancing. So we have this perfect food. I like to mix it, like sometimes in the summer we'll mix it with water and make ice cubes out of it, and you can put your ice cubes in your water and kind of just let them melt, and it makes it a little milder. You can just mix it and put it in your little magic bullet, little blender, Zephyr Ninja, whatever you have, and just put it in with either some lemon juice and water, or if you like a little bit more savory, you could do a little bit of an organic tomato juice, which creates a little bit more acidity. But there's a lot of different things that you can do with Green Zone, and I know if any of you are on Facebook or Pinterest, there are tons of recipes on there of people that are working, making the Green Zone more bioavailable. I like pineapple juice sometimes. I just have to dilute it with a lot of water. So all of the whole foods and everything that are in the Green Zone includes having the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids to it. So this gets metabolized pretty easily into energy. And if you've ever been crashing in the afternoon and craving carbohydrates and you go mix a Green Zone drink, you can see it kind of wakes your brain up. It picks your energy up. And that's going to help with intestinal movement. It's going to help with inflammation. Okay. Then liquid chlorophyll. This is everybody's favorite. We always call it swamp water because that's what it looks like when you're drinking it now. Even our dog gets it, and it's like, people come over like, why does your dog have green water? Mostly because it helps her breath, but it helps with the cell to get hydration. So a lot of times, you can drink a lot of water and you can also urinate it out. It doesn't mean that the cell has hydration. So the liquid chlorophyll can help with cellular hydration. It acts as like a little magnet in the blood. It causes what's called an ionic occurrence in the blood with the red blood cells, this ionic charge, so they kind of bounce off from each other, and that keeps the toxins from sticking to them and flushing them out of the body. It can help improve oxygen uptake simply because the blood is cleaner. It has some antioxidant properties, and it can help reduce inflammation because it's helping so the toxins don't get trapped and get sticky in the blood. We do have water-soluble chlorophyll. That assimilates quickly, and it tastes good because it has a minty taste. It helps with that electrical signaling in the cells, and it helps basically inhibit some certain chemicals that can cause this mutation in bacteria. We hear about things becoming antibiotic resistant, and that's where they build up this little polymer or this alkaline coating around them so that they're kind of hiding in the body, and the body can't recognize to flush them out. So, doing chlorophyll on a regular basis can help the body identify these. It's really good for bad breath and body odor and bloating. Those are all helpful things. I wish we could give it to everybody that we're on a flight with sometime. We have two chlorophylls. We have the capsules and we have the liquid. The liquid is water soluble. The capsules are fat soluble. So they do two different things. So you get a little bit more magnesium out of the fat soluble. You get a little bit more of fat combustibility with the cell regeneration from the capsules. You get a little bit more gallbladder reaction of healthy bile production from the capsules, and the capsules have a little bit of vitamin K and vitamin E in them, where the liquid does not. Okay, now my favorite, Nature's Harvest. We have this every single morning. This has 13 grams of vegetable protein, and it also has all the seeds in it again with the chia. And it has the greens, and it also has the essential fatty acids and the fiber. And they have, it is vegan, it is dairy-free, and it is lactose-free. So those are our green foods. Let's look at orange. Usually, you think carrots, squash, sweet potatoes. They have beta-carotenoids in them. The carotenoids like beta-carotene, vitamin A, and these can help the immune system too. Some mushrooms have immune-boosting, heart-protecting, cancer-fighting agents in them, but there are like over 200 different types of mushroom, and I certainly wouldn't trust myself to be out in the wild and pick the right one. I know Christopher Hobbs writes a really good book on mushrooms if you want to learn some more about those. They are nutritionally dense. You just have to, make sure they're not just the plain little white button mushrooms that have the chicken fertilizer on them and been shipped in. So just, know what kind of mushrooms, and that's where he has that, again, that really good book. sweet potatoes or yams actually are a lower glycemic. So when you're craving something sweet and you can do a sweet potato with organic butter on it, you're going to get a lot more nutrition and you're going to satisfy a little bit of that sweet tooth. Plus you're getting all of the calcium, potassium, the phosphorus, the copper, the manganese, the vitamin A, the C, the B6, and beta-carotene out of it. Winter squashes like pumpkin, those are high in vitamin C, and they also contain folic acid and calcium, magnesium, potassium. And then our good fats. I put the fats in here because, when you look at omegas, they look a little bit orange. I know I'm pushing it, but I needed a category for them. So they're orange. Today they're orange. So we needed them for brain and nervous system health and hormone production, including cholesterol production and healthy cholesterol. A lot of times, if you're craving sugar, you can do some good fats and the sugar cravings go away. Every single cell is made from fat, so it needs it to reproduce this healthy cell membrane. It helps the heart to function, it helps keep your skin soft, and it helps to keep the body warm. So here's some more functions of what essential fatty acids do. Particularly reducing inflammation. Here's our super omega-3 and all of the different uses that we can look at research that's been provided to show us what omega-3s have been beneficial in. The super oils. Super oils are going to have a little bit more of a weight maintenance for women than just the super omega-3. And you do get a little more calcium transport with it to help with some of the estrogen combustion as well. So here's another list that you'll have on your slides of all the things that omega-3 can be helpful for. So let's look at the super trio. This is essential fatty acids, your vitamins and minerals, your antioxidants, plant extracts, and you get the super strength multi. So that gets us our vitamins and minerals. And usually I recommend people do vitamins and minerals with food. So if you're taking these, you can consider your omega-3 as a food because it needs the fats to combust the vitamins and minerals and get them where they need to go. Then we have the antioxidants in there with the green tea, the mangosteen, the turmeric, the resveratrol, the quercetin, the acai berry, and the selenium. These all help protect the cell, and they also, more importantly, are anti-inflammatories. And, if you just think of being stressed for 5 minutes and your cortisol level going up, you just had an inflammatory response. So we're having this cascade of inflammatory responses every day, so we need to keep that in check. Okay, our red rules. Red produce has a lot of cancer-fighting lycopene and anthocyanins, and that can lower your risk of heart disease and stroke. So if you think about it, we go back to that. Your blood is red, the food is red, so that's what it works on. Nature did this on purpose. So you have goji berries and acai and cranberries and strawberries, raspberries, cherries, and you get all the flavonoids, the tannins, the anthocyanins out of this because of the high ORAC values, the antioxidants. They're also very heat reducing, so even with hot flashes, just eating frozen berries, and those can be an anti-inflammatory too. So if you think of the blue and the purple protecting the nerves and the brain, and the reds with the blood and cardiovascular system, and it also supports liver and kidney. Cranberries, super powerful antioxidant. We probably know them best for helping with urinary tract infections, but they also, because of the plaque they reduce in the bladder area, reduce dental plaque too. And then our product for that was cranberry juice too. So the goji berries is lithium or wolfberry. Okay, that helps with high blood pressure, fever, sweating, irritability. This is in our Zambroza. We have goji in several products, the BPC, the HSC, the KBC, the INMC, and LHC, because it's 15% protein, it has your essential trace minerals and aminos, but more importantly, it has a really high vitamin C content that acts as very protective and very cooling to the blood. Pomegranates, they actually have 300% more antioxidants than green tea. So they can help keep the blood from getting sticky, helps with improved oxygen uptake in the heart muscle, helps with a lot of different preventions. So Zambroza is going to have the pomegranate in it. Apples, you know, we've all heard, apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, you can always fire your doctor, so, because they don't even know about apples. Alkalizing remedy, and this is really good juicing apples for the liver. That's why a lot of your juicing recipes for detox contain apples. And there's apples in the Zambroza. So, you know, you could actually, if you wanted to do, like, instead of a juice fast, you could do your green zone, your Zambroza, and then in the evening, if you're getting really hungry, to throw the Nature's Harvest in. And that would be a fantastic detox fast. And you could do that. Some people can, you know, go for 10 days fasting. I usually keep it at the 3 days, especially if you have blood sugar issues where blood sugar goes up and down, or you tend to have, but if you tend to have like a congested gallbladder or a history of gallbladder issues, that's a really good fast to do for 3 days. The acai is also in the Zambroza with the high B vitamins in it. Tomatoes are a nightshade though, so they are an avoid for people with rheumatoid arthritis. We do extract the lycopene out of them. However, they do have to be vine ripened to really contain lycopene, that carotenoid that helps with prostate and with eye function. Hot peppers, these contain capsaicinoids, which stimulate circulation. They can help relieve pain and stimulate digestion and reduce inflammation as well. So they're high in vitamin C, fiber, and Zambroza is a great way to get all of this. So it's going to be like a refrigerant. It's useful for fevers, getting excess heat down. Even I found even with sunburn, doing Zambroza internally can help the sunburn heal faster. And then especially during, you know, cold and flu season, doing it daily as a preventative. And that makes great smoothies. You know, you can put extra Zambroza in with your Nature's Harvest, or you can even make your ice cubes out of some Zambroza and put it in with your Nature's Harvest drink and make a smoothie out of it in the morning. Works really well. So we need to convey this message to everyone that really, you know, why do we need to buy organic? Because of all the chemicals, and understanding some key things, you know, like MSG and BDA and aspartame and things to avoid on the labels. You know, just pick a few things out for them to start researching. You know, say, okay, if it contains MSG, don't buy it. If it contains aspartame, don't buy it. You know, and then you can work with elimination diets to help people start identifying any food sensitivities. You know, a lot of people have gluten sensitivity. I see a lot of people, you know, that they say they're lactose intolerant. It's actually the casein probably they're reacting to, but the dairy sensitivity. You do not have to have a full-blown allergy to have a reaction to a food or to a nutrient. You know, I see a high amount of sensitivities. We do the leak testing in our office for food sensitivities. Then help them find a plan that works for them. You know, if some people want to do eat by color, so you tell them, okay, your protein plus 50% green. You know, you have 3 ounces of protein, you've got 6 ounces of green. Or you have, you know, 4 ounces of protein, 4 ounces of orange, and 4 ounces of green. And it's just, you don't have to measure it. It's just eyeballing it to have the same amount and do it by color. There are so many sites out there with paleo information, blood type diet information, you know, and it's just about what type of protein you incorporate in. So, you know, you have a vegan protein with a Nature's Harvest you can incorporate into. And most people are dehydrated. So if nothing else, get their water intake up. And they can mix their green zone with water. Okay, I think this is your part.
Yes, it is.
Marcia? Yes. Okay.
I appreciate that. And I'll whip through these, and I'll just tell you when I need you to change the slide for me. If you can do that, that'd be great. So
yes, I can do that.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a special offer this evening just for attendees only. So basically you would get 10% off your order, full PV. The code is nutrition, and it's available only via phone and fax, and that goes on until March 6th. So again, that's just for people on this call. So 10% off your order, full PV, code's nutrition. And just a reminder, so for the month of March, we have the renewal promotion, and that's basically the liquid chlorophyll, which we talked about this evening. So definitely something to promote. Next slide, please. And then Sharing Sunshine, same thing for new people joining Nature Sunshine in the month of March. We have the liquid chlorophyll as well, and as you can see there, we have the 3 different levels that they can join at. So again, please make sure that you are promoting this to your organization. Next. And upcoming webinars, so next week, next Wednesday, on March 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Manager Development webinar. And we're going to be talking about how to run an effective trade show. So very excited about that. Then on March 14th, we have a webinar at 12 noon for welcoming new business associates. March 28th, we have a webinar at 9 p.m. on the NSP business opportunity. And on the 29th of March at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have a webinar called What is Inform? And that's for people to learn what the Inform program is all about, whether it's from a participant perspective or from a coach's perspective. And the final slide here is iInspire, and if you haven't checked it out, make sure that you have. There's a brand new component, and it's for the Inform program for our coaches, so that's really exciting, brand new. And this contest started February 1st and goes obviously till the end of the year. We also have a promotion going on right now, and that's for double credit or double points for Sunshine Rewards signups from March 1st through to the 25th. So definitely you want to take advantage of that. So we did have one question come in here, if I can pose that to you, Kim. It says, is there an upper limit as to how much liquid chlorophyll is too much in a day?
Yeah, you count how many minutes you've been in the bathroom after drinking too much. I'm just kidding. You can, if you start detoxing too fast, you can have like that cleansing crisis of the headache, a little bit of the joint ache because you're flushing, lactic acid out of the joints, and it feels like flu-like symptoms. And it can cause loose stool, and you just need to tell people that it's not like an alien in their toilet. You're going to have a darker bowel movement because of the chlorophyll, and it's usually because it's moving toxins out of the blood, and those can be darker. So, but as long as it's not going loose stool for too many days in a row, they should be fine.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. Well, if anybody wants to type in a question, now is the time. Well, we just have a couple more minutes. Again, want to apologize again to everybody for the delay. We had issues with GoToWebinar and had Kim working on it from her end and my end, and calling to San Diego, I guess, which is the headquarters, and finally got through to someone about 25 minutes later, and they were able to help us out. So again, thank you so much for your patience. Really appreciate it. This webinar was recorded, so it will be on the website in a few days. There's also the PowerPoint there. It was a handout in a PDF format, so you could have downloaded that and printed it off if you want. That is, it will also be available on the web as well in a couple of days along with the recording. All right, well, I think that's it for the, oh, I got one, hang on, sorry. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, I lost it. Oh, here we go. I have had clients taking LBS-2 for a while. When they had a colon test, they asked them what you were taking that made it so dark. Your thoughts?
It can. The Cascara Sagrada can make things come out dark on any type of stool sampling or stool testing. It's just, that's what the herb does. It makes it dark, so no big deal.
Okay. All right. Well, so no other questions at this point. Oh, hang on, one more. Can you mix Green Zone with protein shake?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of like what the Nature's Harvest is it has a great dose of all of the greens and everything in it with the protein.
What would you recommend for a child that gets diarrhea from taking probiotics and it continues for a couple of weeks after stopping?
Okay, tell me that again, Raj. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. What would you recommend for a child that gets diarrhea from taking probiotics and it continues for a couple weeks after stopping?
And I do see that with kids sometimes because of the digestive system being off. So just back off for a little bit and maybe work on from the other side of it with some enzymes. And usually we typically don't do a lot of enzymes with kids, but doing like the garden essence a little bit, switching the diet around a little bit, because when you do have a lot of sugars and a lot of refined foods that they're flushing out, the probiotics can just flush that too fast. So just make sure they're getting, the good quality protein and nutrients in first.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here this evening. So I want to thank you so much, Kim, for your patience and your help with getting this going this evening.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. So hopefully we'll see everybody next week on the webinar on how to run an effective trade show. So excited for that. So again, thank you so much for your time with us this evening.